Hey everybody, welcome to another con support video. This one's on using Pythagorean to find right triangle side lengths. Okay, let's go. So here's a right triangle. The rule for any right triangle is Pythagorean's theorem, which says that the two legs of the sides that form the right angle between them, squared and added together, always add up to the hypotenuse, the side opposite the right angle, squared. So basically in this situation, x squared plus 7 squared equals 9 squared. So when you're solving this problem here, what you're going to do is you're going to just kind of go through the process. I'm going to show you what that is. So basically, in this situation, you're going to get the one leg squared, x squared, plus the other leg squared, 7 squared, is going to be equal to 9 squared. All right? And you're going to just realize that 7 squared is 49, 7 times 7. So this is going to be x squared plus 49. And then 9 squared is going to be 81. So that's going to be 9 times 9, 81. So you have x squared plus 49 equals 81. And then you're going to want to get the x squared by itself. So subtract 49 from both sides. And so you're going to get x squared is now equal to 81 take away 49. It takes 1 to get to 50 and then 31 more to get to 81. So you're looking at 31 plus 1, which is 32. So we're looking at x squared is equal to 32. And remember, the way you solve for this is you undo a square with the square root. So you take the square root of both sides, and you're going to get x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 32. Now remember, since this is a triangle, there's no negative distance here, right? So that must be a positive value. It's going to be x is equal to, in this case, the square root of 32 positive. Okay? And so that's all you got to do. And then you look for the answer, square root of 32. There you go. You're done. Okay, here's the next one. So on the next problem here, we're going to erase this. And you got a situation where you have two legs. One of them is unknown. Remember, the hypotenuse is the side opposite the right triangle, or the right angle, I should say. And the legs are the two that form the right angle between them. So we have one leg, 2.5, and that's going to be squared, plus the other leg, which is the x value, squared, must be equal to the hypotenuse, 6.5 squared. And you're just going to grab a calculator. There's no point in doing this without a calculator. So just write out your steps. 2.5 times 2.5, it's going to be 6.25. So you get 6.25 plus x squared is equal to, and then just do 6.5 times 6.5 to get 6.5 squared. And that's going to be 42.25, 42.25. Then you're going to get the x squared by itself by subtracting 6.25 from both sides. And so you get x squared is equal to 42.25 take away 6.25. And that's going to be 36. So if x squared is 36, you're going to solve by taking the square root of both sides. That's how you undo a square with the square root. So the square root of x squared is just x. And the square root of positive 36, that's a perfect square. So it's going to be plus or minus 6, right? Now, since this is a triangle, distance is always positive. So it's just the positive root, 6. So the answer is x equals 6. You guys get the idea? All right. So now on this one here, we're given both legs, but we're missing the hypotenuse. No problem. So it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared always. So in this case, it's going to be 4 squared plus 6 squared is equal to x squared. It's going to be 4 times 4, which is 16, and 6 times 6, which is 36. So it'll be 16 plus 36 is equal to x squared. You're going to do 16 plus 36, which is 40 plus 12, which is 52. So 52 is equal to x squared. Then you're going to solve by taking the square root of both sides because you don't want x squared, you want the value of x. So x is going to be equal to the square root of 52. Now, the square root of 52 is obviously plus or minus again, but because of the fact that it is a triangle, it's going to be positive because distance is always positive. So you end up with the square root of 52 as your answer. Now, 52 is not a perfect square. It's an irrational number. So they'll just give you the answer of the square root of 52. That's it. Okay, for this next one here, let's go and erase this. This time you're given the two legs again. You are not given the hypotenuse. So once again, we're going to go here and do 12 squared plus 16 squared, right? The two legs squared and added together is always going to be equal to the hypotenuse squared. 12 squared is one you memorized, 144. You might have memorized 16 squared. So 15 squared is 225. Is that right? I think so. And 16 squared would be 256. If you haven't memorized that, you can always just do it by doing 16 times 16, right? Or 16 in the square button. So anyways, once you get the answer there, it's going to be equal to x squared when you add them together. So what is the sum of those two? Well, that's going to be 44 plus 56 is going to be 100. And so 100 plus 300 is going to be 400. So this is a sum of 400 is equal to x squared. And the square root of 400, of course, is going to be the answer. So the square root of 400 is one that you hopefully memorized, 20 times 20. So this would be positive 20 because remember distance is always positive in this case. It's a triangle. So it's going to be 20. Now, if you're someone who's in my class, I've taught you the known right triangles, right? So in this case, if it was me doing this problem, I would recognize that 12 and 16 can both be divided by 4. And 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. So this is a multiple of the 3, 4, 5 right triangle. Remember, the 3, 4, 5 is one of the known right triangles. So that means that any triangle is proportional to 3, 4, 5, right? Side length of 3, side length of 4, and then hypotenuse of 5. Would be a right triangle. So if you have 12 and 16, you can divide both by 4, and you can see that that's 3 and 4. Then obviously the hypotenuse is a multiple of 5, and that's another way to figure it out, right? Oh, well, what is it going to be? Well, we divide these by 4, we get 3 and 4, so that means we're going to basically times by 4, and so then what's 5 times 4? 20. Same answer, right? All right, next one. In this case, there's no common factors between 4 and 9, so we can't use that right triangle trick I just taught you a second ago. So what you do here is you would erase and do your a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? So let's do that. We have one of the legs, but not the other. So it's going to be 4 squared plus x squared is equal to the hypotenuse, the side opposite the right angle, squared, 9 squared. So this is going to be 16 plus x squared is equal to 81. You're going to want to get the x squared by itself, so take away 16 from both sides. You get x squared is equal to whatever 81 take away 16 is. So that's 81 take away 10 is 71, and then 71 take away 6 is going to be 65. So you're looking at x squared equaling 65. If you want to get x by itself, you take the square root of both sides because the square root undoes the square, and you get the value of x is equal to really the positive negative root here, but because it's a triangle, distance is always positive, it's just going to be the square root of 65. Now, the square root of 65 is an irrational number. It's somewhere between 8 and 9, close to 8, but they don't ask you to approximate it, so you just write the square root of 65. All right, the next one. This one is 4, 5. This one's easy. You have it memorized, I hope. So this is a 3, 4, 5 triangle. That's a 3. So that's going to be 3. If you didn't have it memorized, that's okay. The way you would do it if you didn't have it memorized is that this is going to be x squared plus 4 squared, the two legs squared and added together, is equal to the hypotenuse squared. So we get x squared plus 16 is equal to 25. You're going to minus 16 to both sides. You're going to get x squared is equal to 9. Take the square root of both sides. And like we said, the answer is 3. Remember, this is a 3, 4, 5 right triangle. All right, awesome. And the next one here, 5 and 6, there's no common factors. So this is one where you would use Pythagorean theorem. You're given both of the legs. So you're just going to do one leg squared plus the other leg squared is equal to the hypotenuse squared. And that's going to be 25 plus 36 is equal to x squared. 25 plus 36 is 50 plus 11, which is 61. So 61 is equal to x squared. And then take the square root of both sides. You're going to get the answer, which is positive and negative square root of 61. But because it's a triangle, distance is always positive. You're just looking at the square root of 61. And that's how you do the Pythagorean theorem. It's easy. Just identify the legs. The two sides that form the right angle between them are the legs. The hypotenuse is the opposite side. It's always leg squared plus the other leg squared equals the hypotenuse squared. And then solve. All right, I hope that helps get you guys comfortable with that skill.